All right, so we're got the goddamn part fucking four. We're just cranking these goddamn out, huh?
I think we agree on enough things.
Right, so
There is a lot of stuff to talk about. People need to learn certain things.
that they do. So the wife ain't hating me yet because I interviewed Damon Bloodstorm. I did 3 parts with him the other week, and it's funny because he says he watches my videos a lot. He's like, yeah, the wife fucking thinks you're like I'm like, wife thinks I'm a total idiot. Huh? She's like, oh yeah, totally does. And I've had lots of guys, you know, message me, and say in the comments, yeah, I watch you every morning. The wife can't stand you though. I'm like, so that's the ongoing thing. The wives hate me. I'm like, fuck it. I was like, no surprise.
Yeah, no, well, we all respect each other's privacy here in the house, so everyone has his own space where he could pull back and watch his own stuff that the others don't stand. So when the daughters want to watch their YouTube influencers who play with slime and all that kind of stuff, then they do that in their rooms, and I have my own boys' room
Yeah, that's
for the boys' stuff.
as the room you're in.
Yeah, that's also the only place in the house where we smoke. So,
Oh, is it okay?
you know, whenever I'm having a quiet Sunday morning, yeah, because of the kids, of course, And but in the attic, I can open up a window, and but I have everything here. Later
Does
on,
your
I'll
wife
show
smoke?
you around a bit. It's like half a museum with all the
Yeah,
backstage passes and tour posters and all my shirts. There's my CDs back there. There's
yeah,
my movie collection right here around the corner. I got my computer here, a TV there, my PlayStation here. So
no,
I got everything to entertain myself. My books, really important because I
yeah.
read a lot,
Oh, do you read a lot?
and oh, I love reading. And not, don't think I'm the intellectual fucking. No, I read horror. I love
Okay,
horror books. And I'm not even the purest kind of guy who needs to read them in English in the pure language. Like Stephen King's, I have the Dutch translated versions because,
okay,
I can speak some English, but when I read, I want to relax and not think too much.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's way, way easier to. By the way, what's funny, something that I never thought would happen is that I would play in a band where all the lyrics are in Dutch. And one of my bands now, Grey Aura, is an
It's all Dutch.
avant-garde. It is in Dutch, and it's really interesting because Ruben, the singer, guitar player, he writes all the lyrics, but also the story behind the album. He also reads a lot, and it's about a whole different subjects than I read about. And um, even while having played on the album, I don't even know all the ins and outs about the story, but it's about a painter who makes a big trip and all of a sudden goes completely crazy. And it reflects in the music. The music is completely wicked here and there. It is black metal, but really avant garde. It has jazz in it. It has, yeah, a lot of different stuff. My other band, Illuminati, on the other hand, is way darker, but much more, I would say, psychedelic in a way that bands like Oranzi Pazuzu will do, or Doodheimsguard, or yeah, there's a whole lot of bands that we get influences from,
Yeah,
but it's also a whole new world to me. But it's a funny thing because once you're into death metal, you think that that's the ultimate version of brutality or
yeah.
sickness or evil, which is not, because a lot of the most evil people in the world didn't give a fuck about death metal. You could
That is
trust me,
100% true. That's correct.
but they were evil and wicked as hell,
Yeah,
and it shows in different forms. I don't know. You probably like the band Macabre,
100% love them.
and they're not the most brutal band, but they're insane. They're crazy. They have something. They have dark humor. They have wickedness. They even almost look like serial killers themselves. And I love the dudes. I mean, they're my big
Yeah.
time friends. And
Did you
and
see my
and
interview?
and
I interviewed Corporate Death. There's an
oh,
interview
you
on my
did?
channel. Yeah, yeah, it's on my channel. I did it
Ah,
2 years ago. It was at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Yeah,
nice.
I did one. I think not this last one, but the year before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think on the tour that we did with them, it was like 3 weeks that we toured with them through Europe. But Lance or Corporate Death, he was always up late, and we were talking serial killers, and he could just go on and on and on. Man, I love the guy, and the same with Chuck, the bass player, nefarious, I should
Yeah,
say.
no,
And
I like every single Macabre record, even the last one, Carnival of Killers. I liked it a lot.
And don't you think that Dennis is one of the most underrated drummers ever?
100% easily, dude. He has such a unique style. It's insane.
Yeah, and look at what age and in what year that this guy started. You know, with
Dude,
his
you
double
just and
bass.
not to mention their first record, which is an EP, Grim Reality. It sounds
Yeah,
like nobody, even to this day, between the vocals and the drum style, it like
yeah.
it doesn't sound like anybody. Like there's
It's
nobody like to this day you cannot find a band that sounds like that.
no the most. I think the another style that it relates to most is really old and fast and aggressive punk music. You know, and that like on a lot of acid, literally. The first time I heard about it was Sinister Slaughter, and that's a cool story. Me and Patrick and Thijs, like I told you, we go way back. And when we were young, like 16, you were in Holland back in the day, you were allowed to drink beer when you were 16 years old, legally.
What is
Not
it now?
in
What's the age now? 18 or 21?
18,
Oh,
18.
here it's because
Yeah.
here it's 21.
I know, I know. But anyways, what we used to do when we were 16, we would go to a campsite and drink as much beer as we could in a week. And from the crates of bottles, we would build a wall, you know.
Uh-huh.
But what we do on Sinister Slaughter, there's this one acoustic guitar track. It starts like and
Uh,
then comes that lead like
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about.
what we would do, we would play that on a cassette, but we would hide the cassette player under a chair, pick up an acoustic guitar, and play the song loud and act like we were actually playing that. So people who would walk by, they would think we were playing that.
Mhm.
And even halfway the song, just give the guitar to someone else and he would play it as well, you know? So there was
Yeah.
actually people falling for that stupid joke. Yeah, that's how we were back in the day.
Well, it's funny,
It
dude.
was
It's funny that
first time I heard Macabre, I was like, man, this is like the most crazy band that I've ever heard. And they owe the whole serial killer concept, of course.
1,000%. Dude, it's
Not
funny you
only
say
big,
so, but you
yeah,
asked the question, so you didn't know about that. Me, I'll just show you how much. You asked, yeah, do I like Macabre? And it's funny, so obviously you didn't know about that. So to put it in perspective, I'll even let you on a future fucking thing. I wasn't gonna say anything, but it's been planned for ages. So I'm not a big tattoo guy, right? But I forgot my first tattoos when I got with my wife. So I'll show you. So I've got one, two, three, four tattoos. So which arm? This tattoo, see that?
oh wow, murder metal. Nice.
That's just the guy because my wife has the lady. You know how he's hanging holding a string layup? I
Yeah.
got the guy with and she's got the other half on her tricep. So when we
Oh,
stand
nice.
together, it lines up. So that's one
Yeah.
tattoo of Macabre because we were huge Macabre fans. And the first show I took her to, remember I told you she got in us up later, was Macabre. That was like one of the first show we went to.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
she loved it, and she loves about serial killers. Next one is this was like our wedding tattoo because it like points to our ring fingers. This cross here, this is from the
Yeah.
Brazilian band Abhorrence. The
Oh yeah, I know them.
that's which I love. Evoking Abominations is one of the greatest Christian fucking worship albums of all fucking time. So I was a huge
Yeah.
fan of that. This as obviously Deicide.
Yeah, that's the one
Deicide.
I need still. I still
This
need my trifiction.
this here is that band I'm bringing for my headliner, Attic. That's their cross they use on
Oh,
their
cool.
albums. Now, here, as a future reference, I wasn't going to say anything. It's because I already know which pieces I want for years, but only on the forearms and stuff because I don't want to cover up like muscle groups and shit. So on this other forearm here, that's blank on the inner forearm, what was planned out for years, it's going to be my next piece. I'll probably get the next couple months by my friend Haley. Haley, shout out to Haley Guns. She does all my work. My wife's getting like she's got tons of tattoos. My wife, especially on her legs, and she's been going like every 3 months, and I've been just squeezing them in here and there, getting simple pieces. But my next piece here, I plan on is getting the Centurion of Purest Fire Demon,
Oh, that's cool,
the
man.
inverted pentagram, and that there because it fit perfect, and I like
Awesome.
the simplistic shit and stuff that I've always been a huge fan of. So that's literally going to be my next piece.
Cool, man. Yeah,
Which you
it's
know, a little
I've
fucking
seen a
fun
few
fact.
I've seen a few Centurion tattoos so far, which is always like, okay, wow, you know, it leaves me speechless, you know.
Mhm.
It happened to me when we were in Brazil with severe torture. All of a sudden, a guy comes walking up to the stage while I'm setting up my drums, and he just pulls off his shirt and he has the Corazonic Chaos Gods artwork completely on his chest or his
Oh, so it's
back. I
big.
can't remember, but like a
Yeah.
full piece in red, also in blood red. And I was
See,
like,
that's fucking
holy
awesome.
shit.
He,
Yeah,
he loved that record if he got if it was the whole
yeah.
thing.
And you know the singer Maddie Way?
Dude, I'm trying to get Maddie Ways we speak for a Zoom. I get a shot. I don't even know if the video went up. I asked Mike
Yeah,
Hamilton. I was like, get Matt. He's like, he's kind of recluse. I'll tell him. But I bust Maddie Way's balls. It might be go tomorrow up. I recorded a
yeah,
few days ago. But I'm trying to do a Maddie Way interview. A big
yeah,
Discords fan. I'm trying to get Hell's Headbangers. I've been trying for years to put out She Lay Gutted on vinyl for the first time.
yeah,
There's only a picture disc of it. I have my picture with Maddie Way at the Ohio Death Fest. I don't know if that was the year you guys played or the year before. I can't remember. But
yeah.
the scores
Did
played,
you
and but yeah, no,
did
Matty
you
Way,
watch
big,
his
big.
left arm? Did
What's
you
that?
watch his left arm?
He's got a tattoo. I can't remember what it was though, but I have a photo with him, and I'm like,
It's
"Vibe, what's on his?
it's the
What's up?
it's the Hell at Last demon.
Is it? Is it really is?
Yeah.
Oh, so he? I didn't realize he liked Centurion.
I didn't know either. And the funny thing is, did I meet him? I think I saw him once when he was playing with Cinerary on Ohio.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk to him, or maybe really sure, but I can't remember. But I've heard from, obviously, I know a lot of guys who met him and were even the guys from this gorge. They were at my wedding back in 2004. So, but he was not in this gorge then. So, but a lot of people who know him told me like, hey, he has a Hell at Last tattoo on his left arm. And
We'll see.
every time when yeah, it's funny because every time he does a video or a video with Maddie Way comes out, it's like I'm always looking at his art, like, do I see it? And there was
Well, dude,
like
that's
one
out to
video.
fucking Matty Way. If you fucking see this, see, we even have something else in goddamn comedy. You got to come on. We both love Centurion. No, I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
right.
about him, but yeah, it's clear because I could tell he has a forearm tattoo in the
Yeah,
photo that I have with him, and I would have been. Is he? I don't know if it was the 2001 Death Fest that you guys played at Discord. It was when Discord played, but it might have
yeah,
been 2000. It might have been the year before, and that's because I'm
yeah. But
either
it,
15 or 16 years old in the photo.
yeah,
I'm
in
young as fuck.
2000, in 2001 we played, and then this gorge played, I think, with AJ Magana.
Yeah, because they played a couple times because I've seen Disgorge
Yeah.
once with Maddie Way and then one or two other times when Maddie was out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And when we toured with them in 2002, that's when they had the Brother singer Jamie on vocals.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was on
Yeah,
the Bloodletting, and that
yeah.
was in 2002.
I interviewed Jamie and the Bailey brothers both brought a quinn at this past. Well, I did it right after the severe torture interview at this past. I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw that.
The one with Jamie.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it, but I need to check it out. Jamie's a good guy, man.
I'll send you some links in email, like a shit videos. You gotta check out, yeah, Glenn Benton, the Steve Sheen, yeah, I can send you the Broad Quinn,
Yeah,
the Corporate Death. Dude, I've probably done shit. It's got to be at least 100 interviews now. I mean, it's
got
up
some
there.
homework then. I got
Yeah.
some
Oh yeah.
homework to do.
Yeah. Dude. So like I said, Ross Dolan, I did Bob Vigna. I mean,
Yeah,
I've done so many at this point. I mean, it's
yeah,
a lot of them I forget about now. Yeah. Corpse. Did you
yeah.
see
I'll
my corpse?
probably
Did
watch
you
a
see
whole
my corpse
bunch of
grinder
them.
interview?
No,
Oh,
also
it's
not.
funny. It's funny as shit, dude. It's hilarious. Yeah, it was a really, really good one. It's like about an hour long, just hanging out.
Yeah,
But it's a really good, but funny too. You know what I mean?
yeah. George is easy to talk to, and you know, he always has some stories to tell. So yeah, good
Seems
guy.
like you and George kind of hit it off because he always said good things about Centurion and severe torture in the early days to me. And
Yeah.
Alex Webster, some of the live photos that we have from early 2000s, Alex is wearing a Purest Fire Centurion shirt on stage. I know it's a
Hmm.
goddamn photo. And then you doing the bands and shit with Corpse Grinder, work with them. It just seemed like you guys kind of hit it off.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the very first time that I saw Cannibal Corpse was in Nijmegen. They were doing a tour with Immolation. They were touring for Here and After. And Cannibal Corpse was touring for Vile. So
Oh,
George was just
so you never seen Cannibal with Barnes?
me personally not. I think
Yeah, me
Patrick
neither.
saw them with Barnes
Uh,
because they were and I remember Jelle, our first guitar player, who was the second guitar player who was in the band before Feasting on Blood.
yeah.
He saw them too one time, but we weren't too much into Cannibal Corpse. And I never really had a lot of money back in the day, to be honest. So I could go to some shows, but not all of them. I mean, Patrick saw Sinister with Mike back in the
Yeah,
day,
that's
and I
cool as
never
fuck.
saw them. He saw Carcass.
Do you know Mike personally from Sinister? Like,
Oh yeah, Yeah.
Because he's a guy, dude. Shoot him my way or tell him. I would love to interview Mike. Would love to, dude. I love Sinister. I even
Oh,
like
he's
the
a
stuff
great
that he.
dude, man.
I even like the Howitzer stuff that he sings on.
Yeah. And did you check out Neo Caesar?
Yeah, it's good. I like that too. But I thought the new Howitzer album was even better than that. But the Neo Caesar, that's a good record too. That
Mhm.
he sings like, yeah,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. It's too bad they don't make more. They quit. But that had a lot of potential, I think. Yeah.
yeah. Because I've never met Mike. I've never seen Mike, but big fan of his stuff, and I would love to interview the guy. And I got a shitload of questions for him.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. I love Mike. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll hit you up through email for his contact, or just shoot him my email and be like, hey, hit this guy up,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think I have him on Facebook even, but I don't know if he does a lot with social media, anyways. So but I'll drop him a line, and
Hey,
maybe
hey,
I have his email somewhere. But I definitely know people who know Mike, so it
yeah.
should be easy to reach him.
What about the guys? I'm wearing the shirt. What about do you know the guys in Alter?
No, 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 no. I
From what
never
I
met
heard,
them.
it's funny. I'll say it before maybe you said I can't remember who told me. I have a vague recollection, but I'm not going to say it because for obvious reasons, in case it was this person from the Netherlands. I heard the guys are rock star dickheads, though. That's what I've been told. Not my words. I'm a fan. I don't know, but that's what I
I
heard
don't
about
know.
them from somebody that said they did know them.
Yeah, I don't really know. Nah, I don't have a clue. Uh, uh, when I heard the first album, when Youth Against Christ came
Yeah,
out, I thought that was a badass album, and
yeah, I
then
love it. Yeah,
everything, yeah, and everything that came after it, I didn't care about it.
it's funny. The second one I like, but it's got a few songs that are cheesy. But the third one up, I definitely do
Yeah,
not
cheesy is the right word.
like. For example,
I
like because the
Yeah,
second one, that's kind of a good song, but it's with the lyrics Christian cop convicted. You're like, I don't know, it's just a little cheesy. I like
yeah,
the
but did
song still, but like the opening song, I think is
yeah,
very good. But it's got some filler stuff. But Youth Against the Christ, I mean, that's why I wear the shirt all the time. I mean, I loved this record.
yeah. Did you see the videos for that album after Youth Against Christ? They had some videos that were back in the day. They came on Headbangers Ball over here. I don't know
No,
if you ever
they worth
seen
watching.
those.
Good shit.
Kind of cheesy.
Okay.
If you see, yeah, you see a singer like kind of without a microphone and then constantly pulling his hair behind his ear.
What is he fucking Vince Neil or something?
I don't know. It was kind of painful to watch, and
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
back in the day, when that came out, I was tough on stuff. Nowadays I would not even care that much about it, and you know, uh,
Dude,
just
it's funny you
concentrate
say
on the
that
music.
because, dude, it's so funny you say that because people, they get on me for the channel about being harsh on stuff. I'm like, dude, you gotta understand me at 40 years old now. I'm much more laid back. I really don't care. But it is a channel and it's got to, in a sense, it's show business. It's got to be entertaining.
Yeah,
So what I do is I bring out my 16, 17-year, 18-year-old self of what I would have definitely thought. And I really bring those opinions back into me on camera. Because nowadays, a lot of it's just
yeah,
like I'm older. I'm just like, I don't give a shit, man. I listen to what I like, what everybody else is doing. I don't give a fuck. But when
yeah,
I was young, yeah, I would have been like, dude, fuck no, that's absolutely not. Now it's like, I don't
yeah.
know, man. He's a grown man. He can do what the fuck he wants. you know?
Yeah, the thing is that when you play in a band, you always tend to be politically correct about
Yeah.
things because you don't want to
Yeah.
step on anyone's toes. And
Trust me, I
I'm
noticed
like,
that. I noticed that big time since I've
yeah,
been doing interviews. Because guys are like,
yeah,
well, they want to say it, but you can tell they don't want to in case they run into somebody.
yeah. But I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of past that point that I care about that kind of stuff. It's not like I'm out there to insult people. That's the difference. I mean, but if I don't like something, I don't like something. And when I think something's cheesy, I think something's cheesy. And when I think some bands nowadays concentrate more on fucking social media than on actually playing music and living the music, and instead of, oh, what could be commercially good to do? Oh, let's sound like Incantation, like 4 million other bands.
100%
Fuck that
agree.
shit.
I know.
And I'm not gonna, I usually kept that opinion for myself, but I don't give a shit.
No, but
I
John
could have
knows
been
too.
just
'Cause you should. You probably didn't watch that either. My John McEntee interview. It's a really good one. It's in depth. It's
mm-hmm,
really good. And he talked about the Incantation clones too when they came later on. And he's not against
yeah,
them, but he was just kind of like, why? Like he's fully aware of. So just like what
yeah,
you just said, he's not gonna be like, what the fuck? Did he say that about Incan? He said it himself. Like, yeah, I was like, all these
yeah,
bands. So he's like, I thought Dead Congregation was pretty cool. He's like, but after that, it was like, damn, like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. And sometimes I get a link from someone like, hey, check out this band because they sound completely like blah, 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 blah. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, then I don't even want to press the link.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Nah,
if they sound completely like that band, well, chances are like 1% that they are as good as that band. They
correct.
probably are less good. What's the addition to my CD collection when I buy it?
Dude, it's
You
funny
have
you
to
say
add
that.
something new
Dude,
to the table.
the only band that's perks my attention is somebody's like it sounds just like is if it's a Deicide clone band. It interests me to check out only because I was like, does it capture that hatefulness and that aggression? Most of the time it
Yeah,
don't. I'm like, yeah, you can hear the Deicide influence. I was like, but it's just guys playing decent death metal without emotion. I was like, and you don't get it because
yeah,
people like I said on my channel many times, it's like there's only a handful of bands that I consider a good Deicide influence.
yeah.
Centurion's one of them. Infest Dead,
Thanks.
Infest Dead, Dan Swano's project was another one. There's very, very few people like,
Yeah,
what are you talking about, dude? X, Y, and Z sounds like Deicide. I'm like, not really, dude. I was like, you can hear in the guitars solos and
yeah.
that they listen to Legion and Once Upon the Cross. It's like, but it doesn't have that same emotion. You know what's so funny, dude? You were the very first person that said this. No, forget first person. You're the only other person I've ever heard say this other than myself out loud. And it was, to my knowledge, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the only interview that's on YouTube that you've done. There's a video, I think it's still up. I saw it years ago. There's a sit down in person interview that you do. And you said yourself, Deicide, the difference between them and like Grave and Hypocrisy is Deicide sounded hateful. It's like
Yeah,
Grave and Hypocrisy just sounds brutal to me. I was like, dude, I've
yeah,
always have thought that, always,
yeah,
and it doesn't seem like anybody else picked up on that. Like, well, dude, so and so sounds like for example, Obscenity from Germany, a band I like the first four records. They're like, yeah, they have a Deicide. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like a Cannibal Deicide. I was like, but that did not have the same emotion Deicide feeling at all.
yeah.
You were
Well,
the
I
only
can
person,
enjoy.
other person that
Yeah.
I noticed that picked up on that. I felt like I was the only person on this planet that thought that until you said
Nah,
it.
there's more. Rob is like that as well. I mean, there's records you can enjoy, but with a different emotion than how you enjoy a D-side album.
Yeah,
And yeah, it has to do with the atmosphere and if you feel it or not. And yes, some other bands have perfectly composed songs and a perfect sound in the studio and blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah. That all doesn't matter.
no,
That's not what it's
100% no.
about. And yeah, like I said, D-side records, Glenn obviously has beef with Christianity, and you can hear it. The man is angry,
Yeah,
which is a good thing. And the same when Christian came out with Black Force Domain and
yeah.
Apocalyptic Revelation, you can hear the fucking, same with Pete Helmkamp when he spits out Hallelujah, it's evil, it's nasty.
Funny you say that.
And yeah, and the same goes with Marduk when you hear them, and even if it is with the first singer, or it is with Legion, or it is with Mortis, the new one, it's nasty, it's gnarly, it's evil, it's scary almost. And a lot of bands are just concentrating on perfection,
Correct.
but
100%. 100,
imperfection,
dude, I 100% agree.
imperfection is way more perfect than perfection.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I 100%
imperfection
do.
usually creates authentic. How do you make it makes you authentic?
We'll put it
And
this way, and I put the challenge out to most people. I know some 16-year-old is going to say something stupid. He's going to say opposite. But I think most people who have been in this music for 20 years or more would agree by a statement like this. If you're a fan of Cannibal Corpse and you like pretty much all their albums, which I do, you're going to tell me, take Eaten Back to Life, the first record. That is so much better than the last Cannibal Corpse, Chaos Horrific, which I liked it. It was a good record. But you're telling me that's better? No way. Now, musically and professionally wise, Chaos Horrific, of course, better
yeah,
musicians. It's perfected. It's talented. But you're
yeah,
telling me just emotion and like the feel and the charisma, it's even comparable to Eat Back to Life? I'm sorry. In my
yeah,
opinion, it's not even close.
yeah. But it's. I mean, a lot of people always when they talk about severe torture, it's always about the first two albums. Feasting on Blood and Misanthropic Carnage. Oh, Feasting on Blood and Misanthropic Carnage, and then we kind of changed the artwork style.
You did?
We had a
Yeah.
second guitar player. We had leads. We had way better song structures. Blah blah blah. So we ourselves were like, okay, this band is sounding way more than the classic bands that we used to love, and we're actually doing something that sounds really big now and good and better. And that's also what we wanted. nothing wrong with that. It's a path, it's a journey. But if nowadays people say like, "Hey, I still like the first two Severe Torture records the most," I totally get that. And why? Because that was the first fresh ideas, the purest things that we made, and has the most authentic sound. And people, it's also the first time you hear a band, then that's usually the album that you like the most. Same
Yeah.
for me goes with Nile. I heard the first Nile when it came out, and then Black Seeds of Vengeance came out, and then the third one came out. So all the Nile tricks. So every album after that, you're not going to be really surprised.
Dude,
So you're going to listen.
dude, that's
So you're
hilarious.
going to listen to it
Literally,
in
I
a
say all
different
the
way.
time, dude. I say all the time. The first three Nile albums are what I know and I love. I own the fourth record. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
really remember it. After that, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, the first three are the best. That's all you kind of need. I was like, it's great.
yeah. I own them all because I still buy every new Nile record when it comes out. Because
Yeah,
it's not that I enjoy all the albums. But yeah, when I want to play a Nile album, like, okay, let's play some Nile, I always go back to the first two, to be
yeah.
honest. And so I do it as well myself, but I completely understand what bands do in a journey. And the same with Cannibal Corpse. I mean, the last record, Chaos Horrific, like you say, it's a great record and it sounds perfect and blah, blah, blah. But do I think the old songs are better? Yes. Structure wise and song wise, I think the old songs are way more catchy than the new stuff.
Yeah.
I think from all the albums, I think Vile is the one that still has like all killers, no fillers.
Do you know? Do you
And
know the
it's,
fun? Do you know the fun fact about that between me, Eric, and Chase, my brothers? Do you know the fun fact about the Vile album?
I think you talked about that in one of your videos.
Yeah, that's the first death metal record that we picked up, and Eric bought it. That's the first death metal record I
Yeah.
ever heard in my life. And I remember
Uh-huh.
Chase called me in the room because both of them are older than me. So I was 11 or 12 years old. And we were already listening to bands like Sacred Reich, Slayer, Iron Maiden, Metallica. And Chase like, you got to hear this, man. He's like, you can't even understand what the guy's saying. And we're
Yeah.
just blown. And ever since then, I remember when I heard it, I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. And then
Yeah.
that's literally what changed my entire life. I make a living off it now, do a record label. So it's all
Yeah.
uphill or downhill from there, however the fuck you want
Yeah.
to look at it. But it's that
But it's
album,
a
and it's
great.
funny because most people are going to say
Yeah.
Butchered at Birth or something like that. I was like, no, the first one I heard was Vile, and then we right after went out and found Eat Back to Life and the others like within a month or two. But that was the first one, you know.
Yeah. I think as a whole album, Vile is even better than some of the albums that some people consider the classic Cannibal Corpse
Well, I
albums.
was going to ask you that just in the same sentence, and
Yeah.
you kind of already said it, but I guess I'll be more direct. What is your
Yeah.
favorite Cannibal album of all time? It's sounding like Vile. Would you say that it is, or
I think in the end the favorite one is Tomb of the Mutilated,
same? 100%.
but
I agree.
I
Yeah,
think pretty close after that comes Vile.
yeah.
And that's also because I think that George is a way better singer than Chris Barnes. Not just a little bit better singer, but a way better singer. Yeah,
So
because
I have a
Barnes, his vocal patterns on some of the Cannibal records. I mean, come on, man! It's just a fucking blur of putting the words on the music, but it doesn't fit anywhere.
so I have an
And
opinion.
and and
I've always
as a
had an opinion on
singer
it
and a
too.
drummer,
Yeah.
I love groove, but what he's doing is like so. Well, maybe it is so super progressive that I just don't get it, but I doubt that's what he's doing.
See, my whole thing is I always had my statement for George versus Chris in the Cannibal area. I always
Yeah,
felt Chris's vocals were more disgusting and brutal. Corpse Grinder was more aggressive and fast. So it depends on what you want to go with.
yeah,
What I loved about Chris as a whole, if somebody was to say who was the best death metal vocalist of all time, for me, I would say, in my opinion, Chris Barnes in the first four Cannibals. And the reason being, number one, Tomb of the Mutilated, that to me is like the defines death metal vocals. And what I thought was really cool about Chris is literally all four records, his vocals sound different on all
yeah.
four.
That's true.
And they were cool. Like he had something going for him, as opposed to a lot of
Yeah,
guys, you're just like, oh, it's just kind of a growl. See, he had some type of unique style.
yeah.
And then I like the first couple, I like the first three 6 feet, and then after that, not so much.
Well, the thing is, the thing with Barnes' vocals on the first four Cannibal, they work on those albums, so they're perfect albums the way they are. I heard that Created to Kill demo when he was doing for actually what turned out to be the Vile album. Some people say they like that demo more, and I'm like, man, then you really have shit in your ears if you like that more compared to what George is doing on
I don't know
Vile.
if I like.
Because
I don't know if I like it more, but I like it a lot. I'm gonna like a lot.
I don't like. No, I can completely understand that after that demo they kicked him out. I would have done exactly the same thing. I would probably give him one more shot, and then, man, really, bye.
Did you
No,
like
not a chance that I would.
having said that? Then did you like the 6 Feet Under Haunted album, the debut album?
Dude, I like nothing by 6 Feet Under. The
Yeah,
first 6 Feet Under came out, and it was very promising, like Chris Barnes and Alan West on one album, Cannibal
yeah,
Corpse meets Obituary.
yeah.
And I thought when it comes out, like how you say it in your video, I think it was lame like a motherfucker. It was just so disappointing.
No, I know people that say that.
I
Yeah.
thought every Cannibal and every Obituary release was like 333% stronger than everything that 6 Feet Under has ever made. And they have done some stuff in the past where just like out of interest, there was like a new song. There's this album cover with some kind of it's a white cover with some kind of beast on it. And I clicked on a song and I was like, I thought they were fucking with me. Like, is this really how they sound?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's painful.
How many posers in the comments of this video? How many you think you're going to know the 333% fucking reference?
Oh, your sound is falling away a little bit.
You hear? I said
Oh,
on this video in the comments, how many of the fucking posers do you think are going to recognize your 333% fucking reference?
yeah, and it's don't
They
take it
won't.
too
They won't do.
seriously. I mean,
There'll be like 10 or 20 people max that know. Now, all you
yeah,
dickheads that's like, no, I know. Yeah, you googled it, so that don't
yeah,
count. But I'm saying, how many picked up on that the second he said it like I did? What was your reference? I guarantee you, 10 to 20 people.
yeah. And the thing is that if they get a lot of success, hey, good for them. I mean, I'm not gonna buzz their balls if they have success. Probably it's something I don't hear,
Yeah.
and Germans do because in Germany they're huge, and probably they're doing big tours. And hey, good for them. But 6 Feet Under for me, if to me a death metal fan comes up like, yeah, one of my favorite bands is 6 Feet Under, I'm chances that I'm gonna take that guy very serious for his recommendations are like
Well, pretty
zero
low.
percent.
I will say
Yeah,
this though. I don't know what your stance on this is though, dude. I mean, because yeah, I like the first 3 6 feet. After that, it gets. I don't want to say too much because I'm trying to get a Chris Barnes interview. I don't want to fuck that up. Um, uh, but I will say this: throw out any later 6 Feet Under album. Me personally, even the Graveyard Classics, I'll take those over fucking Blood Incantation. All these new bands that the kids care about. I just listen. I'm like, dude, this is boring as shit to me. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I'm fucking, and not
yeah.
to
I
mention, in
listened to.
my opinion, the dumbest fucking band name in history. You took two bands, Blood, a grindcore band from fucking Germany, and Incantation. Yeah, never heard of those guys. It's just like I'm
Yeah,
gonna, dude, yeah, just Seth, I'm gonna start a new fucking band, dude. It's called Possessed Massacre. It's just like I don't know, I just don't get it.
yeah. I listened a bit to their new album, and I hear some death metal, kind of progressive. I think like, okay, I really like Gorguts and even the later stuff. I can listen to that, but it wasn't as good as that. And then the Pink Floyd part comes up, and I switched it off, got a Pink Floyd record out of my collection, and put that on because that's I don't know, man. It's like it
Yeah, I
turned.
mean,
Yeah, I
they
was
have
like,
a fan base, and I know guys that I'm cool with that love that Blood Incantation stuff. I'm just like, I don't get it, man.
there's
I don't get.
yeah,
It's not
there's.
for me. But I mean, yeah,
Let me tell you, and some people are gonna bust my balls for saying this. There's two kind of people listening to Blood Incantation. People who actually like the band and listen to it and fucking love it. I know TISH from Severe Torture loves that new Blood Incantation record, and I know TISH all my life. If he says that, he's not gonna fuck around about it. But there's a whole group of people who say they like Blood Incantation to look interesting. You know what I'm
or
saying? Like to
yeah,
look
I do. Well, it's just like,
intelligent.
dude, I say I
Yeah,
think there's I've said it.
profiling.
I think the bigger bands, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide. I've always said I think, and I'm being oh so generous with this number. I think 50% of it's fucking posers. I was like, dude, you don't own an album. You couldn't name me 10 songs. I was like, you don't know this shit. You like it because
Yeah,
your buddy listens to it or to fit in and look cool.
yeah,
That's my
yeah.
opinion.
And that's what. Well, it's I see a lot of that stuff happening online. It's like some people trying to profile themselves by liking certain bands, like and then I'm like, it's kind of jumping on a bandwagon.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I don't see it either. I think Blood Incantation is not a bad band, and probably it does something for a lot of people, which is okay, which is fine. But there's a lot of bands from the past that got a lot of attention that I didn't get why. I like a lot of technical and progressive stuff, but Necrophagist, I never was interested in them.
it's hard to
But I
follow that.
like,
I understand why people like that if you're like a guitar person or whatever, but people that don't like it, like pretty much myself as well, it's like it's kind of like you're gonna tell me you're gonna remember all this shit. I was like, this is unmemorable as fuck.
yeah, the thing is, I like technical stuff, but I like a band like Origin way more.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, they're also super technical and super fast, but for some reason, they have, to me, they have a better, more interesting story to tell.
Mhm.
And another band that I really like nowadays and that I play all the time when I'm at home is Imperial Triumphant from New
Oh no,
York.
okay, I could see, especially in the avant-garde. I mean, it's definitely a. Somebody
Yeah.
asked my opinion on that. I'm like, I think a band like that is because you guys don't really have trick or treating. I was like, I think it's good for putting on the background if you're handing out candy on trick or treat because it's like spooky ass
Oh,
like
it
type of
has
music.
it has a lot of immolation in it actually. If and the same goes with Portal.
Mm,
They're all big time immolation fans, but um, yeah, I don't know, man. They just hit the spot in the right way. They do these jazzy stuff, the polyrhythmic stuff, um, the way Kenny plays his drums. I think he's like, if you look in the whole metal scene, there's not a lot of drummers like him. Really fucking good. Not a clinical like I can do 400 beats per minute. Like,
yeah,
okay, you hit the notes, but it sounds like shit if you switch off the triggers. No,
yeah,
this guy is an actual drummer, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's like to me way more interesting than the average death metal band that just a new band. Like I like the classics, and like when I go to a live show and I go to a Deicide show, they can play for an hour or even 3 hours, and it's like 3 hours of hits.
yeah,
But with a lot of the bands nowadays, they just bore the fuck out of me.
yeah,
When I
100%.
watch them live, it's like after 3 or 4 songs, I'm like, okay, I've seen it. Bring something to the table, make a show, create good songs that stick to my head. Marduk, they have fucking killer songs. Some of the songs you don't even know. You hear them live for the first time, maybe because it's a certain record that you didn't play a lot,
Yeah, it stands
but they
out.
still stick in the head.
Yeah,
There's a riff. The riff starts, vocal patterns start, and boom, it's there. And
yeah,
that's what I'm missing with some bands nowadays. And also a unique style. I think Imperial Triumphant has a really unique style that I haven't heard before. And with the whole concept of New York and all the gold and all that kind of stuff, the champagne they pour out live, yeah, it's amazing. And I was happy enough to be supporting them twice with my band Grey Aura. Also, these guys are really nice guys and friendly guys, but the show they put up is just amazing, man,
because they're from New
and
York,
great
right?
musicians. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, that's cool that they
yeah.
made
I
it all.
think one of them actually moved now to Nashville,
Okay,
but I think the other two guys still live in New York, as far as I know.
all right, Seth. We're down to 70 seconds. So, is there anything you want to sign off with?
Yeah, let me know when we do the next one, right?
It's up to
Or
you.
do you
Whatever.
have any more questions? Because then we got to do more.
I mean, I was going to go into the severe stuff that we didn't get into, like especially
Yep.
we vaguely talked about it, but I was going to go into like you leaving and commenting on Dennis's vocals change and shit like that. So I mean, I had stuff, but I mean, it's
Well
up to
then,
you.
well then, send me another link and make sure to ask those questions in the beginning of the video
Yeah,
because
I
I will
agree. Because
just
things
start
trail.
babbling.
Dude, I tell everybody because they're like, oh, to do an interview. I don't know. I won't have much to say. I was like, trust me, dude. All I got to do is ask one or two questions. And every time the conversation steers off to another direction. It's because that's just the way it is. It's
Yeah,
just a
but
conversation.
I prefer this over answering 10 prepared questions in a
Yeah.
row.
Yeah. Same.
That's when all of a sudden you don't know what to say, or you get a question, you give an answer, and then they're like, "Oh, but that was actually what I wanted to ask 3 questions from now." Yeah.
Right. Right. All
So
right. So that's the end
no,
of
man.
this. What was this part fucking four? I don't remember. I think this is the fourth one.
Yeah, this was the fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah. So part five coming. God